Hi everyone, welcome for this new video about ZStyle library for React Native. In this video I'm going to do things a little bit different. I'm going to showcase a new feature of the library. It's more about I'm going to develop a new feature and show you the process I'm going through to do so. Any comments, feedback, help, ideas, proposal that you might have, you definitely welcome to come up with it. So don't hesitate to leave a comment at the bottom of the video. I will have a look at it. And I think we are ready to start. I've made a few steps ahead of you for convenience mostly. So I initialized a new React Native project that I called ZList. I have installed the ZStyle library. I have copied the file, ZStyle configuration file to the root of my project. Install Axios that I'm going to use to fetch my data from my endpoint. Then I have reset React Native, so I remove the node modules folder, reset the cache, and reinstall the dependencies. So I'm able now to run my project on iOS, and I open it in code. So let's close this to make some space. Going into the project, so it's a brand new project. If you go to the except the ZStyle.js file that I have copied from this style library, where you will find all the utilities to be used. If you go to the app.js, everything you get from the start, and here is the project that you get, like so. Now, so let's start. So basically what I want to do in terms of process first is to use the way that I'm creating lists with React Native today. So the idea of the ZList is to replace FlatList and SectionList and just use one single component. I don't see why we should have two components for that. I rather have only one single component and using props to differentiate if I need a section list or if I need a flat list with that. Let's see how it goes. I don't know how it will look like at the end. I even don't know if I will put it live, but at least it will give some brainstorming, and it's kind of fun to work on this kind of topic to see how you would do things differently from the core team and or adapt to it or try to enhance. So let's see where it brings us. So first, let's delete everything from the app.js, import React, obviously. And I'm going to use hooks just for fun. I like hooks lots. So use state, because I know I will need a state in my functional component, and use effect in order to be able to fetch information. So all this is coming from React. I obviously need, for my first example, to work with a flat list from React Native, like so. Sorry, ZStyle. Here you go. I will need a ZView and ZText from React Native ZStyle, like so. And I will need Axios to fetch my data. Okay, so now let's export default function, which will be called app. To start with, so I'm going to build my state. So I'm going to build, so I have an endpoint on my local machine, which is about a list of venues of restaurants. The list of venues will be used for the flat list example, and the list of, inside each restaurant you have a menu with a list of various things, and I'm going to use that for the section list later on. Maybe not in this video, but in the second or third video. First, the objective being to work with flat list, which is the easiest, and then a refactor to be able to integrate the section list after. So I'm copying the endpoint here. So I need venues state, set venues from the use state. That will be an empty array as an initial state. Then somehow I know that I will need an async function to fetch my venues. So async function fetch venues. so. I'm going to fetch, so alias, the data I get from my endpoint with venues, and using Axios to get it. So Axios.get, I copy paste my endpoint in there. Okay, and finally I will set my venues with the function that is coming from there. So this is that, but then after I need somehow a way to be able to call this fetch venues function. I'm going to use the use effect hook for that. So it takes a function as a first parameter where I can call the fetch venues function like so, and I'm just going to call it once. Once the component is mounted, so I'm just going to put an empty array in there. If I was relating it to, let's say that I want to fetch several pages, I want to change something in the state, I could make the state that is changing that would trigger to relaunch this effect to fetch the venues. But for now, I just need to have it when the component is mounted at first, and that's it. Fine, so now we can finally return something on the screen. I'm going to take a ZView, ZText as well, put some hello in there. So let's see how we are doing here first. Okay. Looks not really good. What is going on? This happens sometimes. If I make a refresh like that, we change something. Yeah, okay, great. So here you can see I have my hello at the top left corner in there. That's great, so I can render something. Next, what do I want to do is to integrate a flat list. So I'm going to put my flat list in there and close it itself. So if I go to the documentation, the flat list text takes a data props where you put the array of data that you want to render, and the render item that will be able to, it's a component to create each item that you want to render. And there is also, I don't know why it's not at the beginning, but there is also this key extractor props that is important in order to be able, for React Native, React to be able to render, iterate over your array of data. So having that in mind, I have my flat list here. So the data props will take the venues that I have just fetched from my state. Key extractor here, so will be, so I have in my item, I have an ID, so I can just grab this, but it's an integer, so I need to make it to string for React Native to be happy, like so, and then render item. I fetch my item from the function, and I can return my component that will be the view. The first text here where I'm going to put, I have added recently a text props into my text component, so to make it shorter. So here what I can do is fetch the item dot brand name and the brand description, like so. Okay, let's see how we are doing in there. Okay, so we get the data. We have a title here. We have a description below. Let's make some styling to be able to see what's going on. First, the initial component, the wrapper. Let's put some margin top of 30. Okay, make some room. I don't remember what is the margin that I put in there by default. Yeah, maybe let's put it 80. So here I'm just adding a custom utility under the margin, so I'm able to reuse it completely directly in there, like so. Okay, so it's a little bit better. Then let's style the text in there. So let's style. So we'll have this one text to Excel. Let's see if it's not too big. Font bold as the title. Let's style text based, the size of the text. And the color of the text will be text gray darkest. How are we doing here? Okay, much better. Leading rows for the text, and let's give a little bit of room. Margin bottom of 20. See how it goes. Okay, and I can add another one here with a margin bottom of 40. Okay, good enough. Maybe I can add here as well some margin X of 20. Okay, good enough. So I have now my initial list with the data that render with a regular flat list. So the next step for me now is going to be to replace this flat list with a custom component and start to think through the API that I want to propose to the ZStyle users with this list component, with this ZList component. To make some room first, I'm going to extract the render item into its own function for it to be a little bit cleaner. So to do so, I'm going to take that here, like so. I'm going to make it, for now I'm just going to make it in line with some file. Let's call it function item, like so. Render it in there. Okay, I know that the item will accept an item props to be able to access the item brand name and description, like so. Let's fix the indentation. Okay, now I can render my item and pass the item as a props. It's a lot of item everywhere, but I believe that it should be fine. Let's save that. What did I do wrong? Function item. So there is no error, which is annoying. I like to have errors to understand what I'm doing wrong. There is no error. I spelled it properly. I return it. Why? I will add it this way. Change anything? No. That's a good one. I don't understand why this is not working. So I pass my item in there. Fetch it from here. Can I console the log again? Nothing is coming out of it. Okay. That's interesting. Why? Ah, sorry. Obviously, I need to return it as well in there. Stupid mistake. Okay, So now I have the same, but it's a bit cleaner, let's say. Like so, to remove the noise around this. And I'm going to create an item component, a separate file. So let's create a new folder. Components. I'm going to create a new file, item.js. Import React. Let's copy this here, so export default. Let's see what I need here. So I just need a native ZStyle. With the view and the text. Okay. And I think that's about it. Now going back to my app.js, like so. I can then import my item component from components item. Here you go, and I should get the exact same thing. Yeah, that would have been too easy. I know that I don't need my text anymore here. Components item, from components item. Render it here. Export default function. Get my item and return it. Why would that be? Ah, okay, so it's working. Whew, I was wondering what I did wrong again. Okay, so what we have done so far, so we have created our first component with a flat list, or a custom component to render the flat list. So that's a good thing done. Now what I want to do is to create my ZList component. So I'm going to create, let's start with it. I'm going to call it ZList. It's going to be like that. At the beginning, I'm going to fetch the flat list here, remove it, create a new file, a new component that will be my ZList component, like so. To import React again, React. I need function here, ZList. So, okay. So what is necessary here to pass as a props to my ZList? So obviously I will need the data. It will come from here. Yes, but what I would like to do in terms of, so I would like to merge these two props into one props. I'm going to show I'm going to do that. And okay, then fine, after I need to render a component, an item component. So let's call it item for now, instead of render item. Or I can still call it render item to make it familiar for everyone. Let's see, I like it short for now, so I'm just going to keep it item for now. And at least I'm going to change it here. So this is fine, this is fine, this is fine. The only thing here now is that I need to get my venues, and that basically will be items. And I need to get my key, and I need to know which key I want to use here. If I want to use an ID, if I want to use a name, whatever it is. So how I would do that, what I was thinking, I kind of liked, and I never used much, I never used it before, actually, before using hooks, but the array structuring is quite nice to use, actually, in terms of API. So it's what I want to use here. So when I thought about it. So I'm going to have the first prop of data. That will be an array with the venues directly from here. And as a second array argument, I'm going to pass a string that will be the name of the attribute to use with the key. This is what I was thinking about. Then I have my item component here to pass. I'm going to pass the item component directly, but I'm importing from here. like so. Then going back to my ZList components here. Now what I can do is from the data fetch first the items and second the, let's keep calling it ID from the data, like so. And now I can put the items here instead of the venue, and here instead of calling .id, I'm going to put the square brackets, put ID in there, so it will know what I need to fetch as an ID for the key extractor. However, I don't want people to be obliged to, if I go back to my app.js, I don't want to force to provide this argument, because if you work on examples, you are supposed to have something, but if you don't have, I still want to provide the opportunity not to provide the second argument, to make it optional. And to do so, basically, so I'm going to check if there is an ID. If there is an ID, I will pass the ID. Otherwise, so here I can grab the index. Otherwise, I'm going to provide the index, like so. Now, I wonder if I need to put it as a string as well. Okay, but here you see we refreshed. It's working great. I go back here. If I remove my ID from the props, refresh again. Yeah, the list is not defined, so that's working. Because it was not refreshed. Obviously, I need to import the list. A bit stupid. Okay, so from my components, and there's the list here. Okay, save that. See how it goes. Obviously, I didn't refine the flat list from React Native, but I need to put in there. Let's save that. Let's save that. Nothing was written from render. Return statement is missing. Did I forget the return statement again? Looks like I did. Great. So if I do that. Yeah, now we get something. But I have the number thing issue, so what I was mentioning earlier, so I need to make the index to string as well. Like so. Okay, great. So now I have at least a starting point for the API that I want to use. I know that I want to use the AD, so back in there. So I have two props. I have my ZList component with two props where I pass my data, which are the actual items to render, the data to render, and the key extractor attribute to get from those venues if I have one or not. Or I can just remove it and it will take the index. Then I pass my custom component into, so it's my second prop, the item, which is a custom component. So that I import both from here. I have my item component here that still get the item props from. So if I go here, so my item is passed, item component is passed to ZList. I render it here, and then I fetch the item from the items, which are the venues. I pass the item props. This is why I'm still able to access the item into my custom components for item, and able to render it and customize it as I want. So it's far from being complete, but I think it makes a good starting point for now. I hope you learned a few things, that you like it. Then next point will be, I think, to add actions, to be able to add buttons. Either if you click on the entire, I don't know why, if you want to click on the entire item, or if you want an action here to do something else, to display a model or whatever. So we need to pass actions to this ZList components to be able to render actions directly from the main component that we have here, where we will need to write the function directly. So the function will be set up here. We will pass it from ZList, and the ID will be to be accessible directly from here, and put some touchable components into that render item. So I hope you like the videos, that you like the concept. Any proposal, feedback that you might have, don't hesitate. I would be glad to get some comments below the video. Have a nice day. See you later.